interesting. We're talking about balancing work and playtime.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. So tell us a little bit about you, and then we can crack on.
Okay. I'm Tanya McCaffrey. I'm based up in Glasgow. I'm a single mum. Currently was out of work with the NHS due to COVID. Hopefully start a job soon. Just got to wait and see. Keeping busy with our projects, with acting and stuff like that. Just to keep us busy and keep us, positive and focused, that kind of thing.
For all those single men out there, when you say single mom, so they can get in touch. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Absolutely, Ronnie. I need to find Mr. Right while I'm at it. Yep.
There you go. So all the men out there, Tanya is available. Get in touch.
You're so funny.
How do we balance our work and lifetime? What do you do?
Well, what I try and do, it's really, really hard sometimes. I'll be very honest, because I kind of juggle. Our lives are very busy, my daughter and I. Obviously, with lockdown, that's slightly changed a bit. I've kind of got to find that time and schedule things. That's how it works for me. Every other family will be different. Because prior to lockdown, with acting, studying, working, school, homework, all that, being a single mum, I really have to try and find me time, asante time, and then family time. So it can be quite hard for me being on my own doing it. I think as a couple, a bigger family would be slightly easier, because you can at least say to your partner, can you take blah, blah, blah away so that I can have an hour to myself, that kind of thing, Ronnie, So it's really trying to schedule downtime, commit to me time. It's easy to break plans with ourselves, but we've got to do that. So basically, scheduling downtime, time for, just so that you can schedule activities that need to get done. So finding that balance with, like with the family, searching for pleasurable things, that make you active, make you happy, that kind of stuff. All that's important.
Can you remember the last time you actually just went out to do your own thing?
Sorry?
So can you remember the last time you went out just to do Tanya's thing,
No, I very rarely do, like before lockdown. What I would try to do is at least once or twice a month I would meet up with my friends who are in similar situation as me, i.e. single parents, and we'll do a girly night, meet up for a meal, go to the casino, that kind of thing, just to have fun for an hour or two. But no, it is quite hard. And as well, I think for me, for our situation, it's even harder, because we out of the house a lot for acting, because of Asante's acting and all the different projects that me and her are involved in. We're never in the house, so that's kind of like my out, if that makes sense. I'm socializing because of acting. I'm doing a lot of socializing anyway. You got to network in the acting industry, so that way I'm always meeting different people and seeing different people and talking, and so that kind of keeps me positive, keeps me motivated, keeps me busy anyway. But as for me time, it is quite hard, because I'm studying as well, so it's trying to balance all that.
That's the challenge now, how to balance it. I mean, that's the because you're not alone in this whole thing. It's a rat race.
It is. And you know what, the biggest thing as well is I'm finding to find me time, you've got to put all devices away, stay off social media, because that can just take over your whole life if you let it. So you've basically got to shut down all those devices and engage in different activities that are not relating to these things, So that can be quite challenging as well.
I know. I mean, I went for a run this morning, came back, had a show I had to do for a friend called Shola, did a show with him. And after that, I had to do a bit. And after I was just getting tired. So I just turned everything off, lay on the sofa and slept for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you've got to.
I just had to, because I was just draining. And it was like 1 o'clock and I was getting so tired. And I was like, I need to just take a break for a minute, And it's everything down, as you said, the phones, everything, just turn everything off and just close my eyes for that 30 minutes. And I woke up a lot better.
Absolutely, because I find it distracting. Social media is a good thing, and it does work to your advantage for businesses and acting and all these different things. If you're trying to sell yourself and stuff, but you can get so engrossed in it, and you lose focus in what you actually should be doing. Yeah.
So kind of planning. So kind of planning ahead would help, wouldn't it? To kind of plan your day out.
Yeah, so for me, I keep calling it scheduling. We wake up early in the morning, make breakfast. Sometimes Asante will wake up late. She goes to bed a wee bit late because we're doing different things. We're catching up on schoolwork and different things. And then I try to sit down with her in the evening and we try and watch a movie together because lockdown it can be quite tiring. I know it sounds crazy saying that.
I know exactly what you mean.
But I feel as if I'm busier at home with lockdown because it's cooking, it's cleaning, it's laundry, it's this, it's that, it's homework. Then I'm trying to study, then I'm trying to catch up with little projects, and it's different little things. And then I remember, oh dear, I didn't do that with us, Auntie. So let me catch up and do a wee bit of this and that with her. So we have been going to bed slightly later than the normal, and we are waking up slightly later.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't have that kind of routine, it can get out of hand as well. But
right.
that's what I'm finding, So I'm finding we're having to do chores together, plan when we're going to play games, when we're going to, do a family walk, go out around the park, that kind of thing. Yeah. So you've got to have that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on your new job.
Oh, I just hope it pulls through. It's just taken so long to come together, but I'm sure it will. But thank you very much for having me on board again, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
And you too. Take care. Ciao.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, as I was saying, I did feel quite tired, and I just felt, I needed to take a break just to recharge. And I woke up feeling kind of recharged, although I still feel a bit not too strong, but it just took me a few minutes to recover again, and I've come to learn ever since I had a crash last week or 2 weeks ago, I to seriously take it serious on my me time, on how I plan my time. And you should do, we work so hard. You need to find time to rest and time to play a bit. Okay, so although I'll talk about the difference between resting and playing, those are two different things. Because for people who know me, will say, oh man, Ronnie, whenever you get to a party or whenever you're having fun, you give it 100%. Why is that? Because if you work so hard, when you have that... Hello, Danny, how are you? You're live on air, how are you?
Oh, good afternoon. Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I am very well. Nice to hear you again.
Oh, thank you so very much. It's so nice to be with you again.
Fantastic. Please tell our listeners about you. Today we're talking about how to balance work and playtime.
All right. My name is Adedamola Timothy, popularly known as Dami Timothy, and in the Christian world, I'm a pastor, and also I'm a PR and communication practitioner, a project manager, international conference speaker, life coach, and media personality.
Fantastic. So how do we balance our work with all the activities that you get involved, that you're doing? How do you balance work and find time to play?
It is a very, very interesting topic you are looking at today, because I was just discussing with somebody yesterday about the impact of Corona or COVID-19 on families, because we have so many families have been living a kind of an imbalanced life, in the sense that they've not been able to juggle work and family responsibility together. When you look at all kinds of bills on ground, things to use money to do, you blame them, but at the same time, it is very, very important to know that all works and no play make just not just the dull boy, but the dullest boy in the world. Yeah. So it's very, very important. So one of the things that I would like to say very briefly, because of time, is that, you see, there's nothing that can happen just anyhow. Everything must, be planned for. You have to be deliberate about your life. You have to be deliberate about what you want to do. So now you are working, and you give everything to work, because especially when you start a new business or when you start a new career, or maybe when the career has grown and you want to actually maintain the status, and you want to stay on the pedestal and everything like that. So the one at the top want to stay at the top. The one that is not at the top is striving to be at the top. So at the end of the day, you get yourself into work, baptize yourself into work. Permit me to borrow the word from Christian world. Baptize yourself into the work, and at the end of the day, make other things to suffer, because you don't realize when you give your 100% to work alone, somebody is at home missing you, especially when you are married, your wife, your kids. When we talk about absentee fathers, it's not only those people that have run away from home. There are some fathers that are living in the house, and they are not still performing their roles as fathers. The same thing with mothers. You understand what I'm saying? So it is very, very important for you to be able to be deliberate. You understand? You have to be deliberate about looking at your life. Sit down, put pen to paper, plan your life. This is the time for work, and this is the time, for family life. You see, one of the things that can make a man or a woman to do that is to see the hazard in not giving time to what you are supposed to give time to. You understand? So when you sit down and you look at the way things, children in this world are becoming, it's just because this is a live broadcast. I've been able to mention certain children, especially in the name of, religion, killing people. There were 2 children there. And many years ago, few years back, that killed a military man at Woolwich. Now, you want to tell me that, and these people came from a particular home. For data protection, let me just not open all my mouth as regards that. But they came from a particular home. Their home had a particular kind of religion that they do, but these children left that religion to go and do other religion, and they were so indoctrinated to the extent that they were convinced to kill people, that when they kill people, they are doing service to the god of the other religion. So now, I'm not bringing religion argument here, but what I'm trying to say is that if these children are be well tutored, they had a good tutelage from home, they had mentoring or mentorship, as the case may be, in their parents and their father. They were taught how to behave, what to do, what not to do. By the time they were in their formative age, they wouldn't have gone so deep into crime. You understand? Especially what I call religious crime. You understand? And they will not be perpetrating evil in the community. Yeah. So this is one of the things that we have to look at. Man, woman, you have to be able to separate between the time to work and the time to be with the family. Your family
However, there is also the distinction between finding time for the family and finding time for yourself.
Okay. If you don't find time for yourself, you can't find time for the family. Because you have to discover yourself first. You have to know what you want. It is out of your own, leisure time, realization that you find time for the family. If you don't even give yourself, you don't rest yourself. How can you actually find time for your family? That is one thing you have to do. People should plan holidays at least once or twice in a year. It is very, very important. You should plan, a personal retreat to recreate, to rebrand, to reset. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just go there. This retreat, you can go there and just sleep, to think about your life, what you have been doing, the prospect in your business, and also how to develop your family life, your social life, and everything like that. So it's not only business retreat, religious retreat. That you should do. You should find a time to just go and you see, after you have done that, you need to also inculcate your wife and your children into it. It is not every holiday that you take your children to. You understand? Especially when your children are still young. You understand? You should be able to find time for your wife, for your spouse, your wife, your husband. You understand? You see, a lot of things do happen after.
But it's not easy to find that time. I mean, you're talking about finding family time. You're talking about finding children time. You're talking about finding work time. You're talking about finding study time. What about Timothy time?
Okay,
that's the core of what I'm really trying to get to, because we can work so hard and then don't find time for ourselves that we just burn ourselves out.
Yes, you are spot on. You are right, but that is the reason why I say that. You see, one of the mistakes that people in our world today make is the inability to keep calendars. You understand what I'm saying? You have to, when you wake up in the morning, you have to wake up to an agenda, a schedule. You understand? Schedule for the day, schedule for the week, schedule for the month, and schedule for the year. And you have to be able to strictly adhere to the schedule that you have made. You understand? Yes, there is room for flexibility here and there, but at the same time, it should not be the one that will cause issue, or maybe it should not be at the detriment of your own recreation, your health, and everything like that. So finding time for yourself that is the reason why, Mr. Ronnie, I started with you have to be deliberate about it. You have to say, this is what I'm going to do, because let me tell you something, what you don't plan for, you cannot achieve.
That's true.
So you have to find for it. You have to find time for it. At work, you have holidays, some 18 working days, some 20, some 15 or something like that. In that holiday, you have to take that holiday. Some people, do you know the irony of the serious thing that is happening now? People take money for the holiday.
Wow.
Don't worry.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, man, don't worry. I'm gonna come to work. So I'm gonna take money for you. Don't worry. I'll work.
For me, on that note, while we just round up, I blame the employer. For your staff and your employees to be very productive, you need to insist they take that time off. To pay them to continue working for the whole year with no break, there's no way that their productivity and their enthusiasm will not diminish.
Believe me so sincerely, do you think so many employers do care for you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's really the fault of the employer to allow somebody to work for 52 weeks with just weekends off. I mean, that is criminal. All right, big man. We're 21 minutes. We're overdue our time, and sorry.
My word! It's always awesome to discuss with you. These are ass-searching stuff you are bringing up, man. This time is too short sometimes, man.
I'm going to extend it. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Later. Do enjoy the rest of the program. Really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Timothy. Bye.
All right. Bye.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you all. And yes, I wish we could have more time. It's funny, as I keep saying, funny how time flies when you're having fun. Right, let's give our fantastic doctor a call. Dr. Trust. She's an amazing lady who's always giving us a very supportive and educated and intellectual. So let's find out how she makes time. How does she make time to rest? How does she make time to?
Hello.
Hi, doctor. How are you?
I'm great. And how are you?
I am buzzing. We can't wait to find out, among all your busy day, how you're able to make time to rest. But tell our listeners about you first.
Okay. My name is Dr. Viganyo Trust-Peño. I am a lifestyle specialist. This means I work with people who want to improve their lifestyle. I am also passionate about community projects. I am an executive member of the Botswana Community UK and other charitable activities.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on air with us and being supportive of our program since the beginning.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ronnie. And I would like to thank our listeners as well.
Thank you. So, question, how do we balance our work and playtime?
Great. Yeah, I love this topic. in this economy we find ourselves in, which is the gig economy, it is very important to manage our time. I would say time management is vital to the survival of us all. Yes, time management.
But how do we do that, though? How do we? We can say it's easy to manage to manage the time, but there doesn't seem to be enough time in the day for it.
Well, the thing is, of course, you might find that because sometimes when you overmanage your time, you find that there is more to do. But just there are a few things that one can do to manage their time. I believe it starts with personal productivity. So if you can manage yourself, I was listening to Ade and Tanya, and both of them were referring to personal. It starts with you. You have to do it first before you can even look after your family. Yeah. That's what Ade was saying, and it's the same thing. So personal time management. I've been using Ivy Lee's strategy. Ivy Lee is a philosopher in the 1800s. So what he says is, create every night before going to bed, create a to-do list. So you create a to-do list every night, and then arrange tomorrow's 6 most important tasks. So the following day you do 6 most important tasks by priority, of course. Start at the top of the list the next morning, then write down the list. Repeat each day. So basically start with the to-do list. And also get sleep, get more sleep. I'm a firm believer of sleeping, getting that rest.
I need to develop myself how to get better at doing that.
Exactly. Yes. You find that if you rest well, then you will have time for playtime. That is time for other things. But if you don't look after yourself, if you don't rest, you're not going to have time for other things. So I believe you must master your time in order to master your life.
Yeah. I mean, some people would argue, because the rat race at the moment is you wake up in the morning, rush to have a cup of tea, rush to the station, get a train, go to work, rush back to home, make dinner, fall asleep on the sofa, go to sleep again, get the keys to bed, go back to sleep. The routine just goes on and on and on like that for 5 days a week. And so those are work weekends. They'll be laughing, thinking, I can't even find time to do anything. Where am I going to find time to even just go for a drink with my friends?
Yeah, if you find that you don't have time to do anything, this is because you're not actually managing your time well. You're not. It's bad time management that you find yourself thinking, oh, I don't have time. But there is time. So don't waste time, because if you waste time, it's irreversible and it's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
If you waste time, you're not going to have time to do what you need to do.
How much damage do you think that we cause to ourselves if we don't find time to rest and play?
How much damage?
Yeah.
You say? Huh?
How much damage? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, plenty of damage, because you're going to be unhappy. Definitely. If you're, if you're going to be, say, for example, overworking yourself because you're not managing your time well, you're going to have less quality of life. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be unhappy, and that's very unhealthy. That's very harmful. This is where we develop diseases. Diseases are simply just imbalances in our body. Our bodies are simply trying to warn us to slow down or to rest or to take time off because we're overdoing things.
It even affects relationships.
Pardon?
I say it can also affect relationships. Your temper and
definitely, of course, it affects everything. It affects everyone around you, your family, your partner. It does. The quality of life is very important. in order for you to relate well with anyone around you.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about finding quality time for rest, but what about playtime? For example, I'll say for you, Trust, when do you find time for just yourself to just go and have fun?
Oh, I find it easy because, of course, I plan my time very well. I have plenty of time to myself and playtime. I describe playtime as time for family, time for fun stuff, time for myself. It's really time to do stuff. That's playtime to me. Yes, I incorporate this because if you don't, then you're not going to have quality of life. Like I said, you must incorporate it in. I find there is plenty of time. I actually, a lot of the time, I have plenty of time. Nowadays, I don't find myself in a situation where I say I don't have time. I actually have more time. And now with this economy, like I'm saying, the gig economy, which is right now COVID-19 has actually shown us the world we're living in. Now we're able to work from home. So we can actually plan our time properly. We've got flexible working time because of this, because we can work from home. Yeah. We can manage our time better.
I hope that we're able to maintain this kind of 50-50 working from home, not have to go to work every day, 5 days a week. That would be a big change, a big help.
Yeah. I think most people are finding that, actually, this is doable and we can actually do this. We can actually have time for this, have time for family. Because before that, we were just running around and not actually, realizing or seeing all these things, that we treasure so much, like family time.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. It's always amazing talking to you, and thanks for your support all the way.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Ronnie, and thank you to our listeners. Thank you, Taja and Ajay, and thank you to the other colleagues that are coming.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Oh, amazing. So it's possible if you plan your time correctly, if you make the effort to plan it, then we can make some quality time. We can have some quality time. Because if you don't have this quality time, it affects your temper. You get irritated so quick, and you get irritated and angry, and everything just kind of cheeses you off, and you get all snappy and everything, For me, though, I've come to realize that I need the time to rest. I just need the time to rest, and I'm going to discipline myself on that, and hello, hi, Cheryl. It's Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie. How are you, lovely?
I am buzzing. You're live on air. How are you?
Yeah, good. Welcome to everybody, and thank you for inviting me back.
Nah, you are special, man. You always blow my mind with your explanations.
Oh, bless. Thank you so much.
Please tell our audience about you before we talk about work-life balance.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Cheryl Chapman. I'm the co-creator of the Find Your Why Foundation. We help people find their why to have clarity and the confidence to create the life that they want to have.
Fantastic. One thing about you, when I ask you to define your passion, your vision, it's so clear and simple to explain. It's no long thing because it's just you. I love that. I love that. How do we balance our work and playtime?
Well, it's really interesting because I've been listening to your lovely guests and what you're saying as well. Yeah. And I want to give some really tangible ways to do this. But first of all, I just want to point out a couple of things. There's a really great quote, and it says that work is like a rubber ball. When you drop it, it bounces back. But if you look at your health, your family and your friends, and you treat them as glass balls, when you drop them, they shatter. Wow. I don't know whose quote it was, but it's an amazing quote. And the reason why I say that is that look, why is it that people work? Is it because they want significance? Is it because they want, to make some money? What is the reason why you do what you do? And, there's another quote that says, don't let life get so busy making a living that you forget how to live. So the reason for saying those two things first is because it's fundamental to understand what you do. Look, when people say to me, what do you do to relax? Then yes, I go to have a massage when I'm able to do, meditate, read, maybe walk. I've started to do more walking during lockdown, actually. But actually, I love what I do. So I don't need any hobbies. This is my life vocation, right? And at the same time, I do need to take time for me. So I'm not really going to talk about family or friends. I'm going to be really selfish and say, okay, so what do you do as, the person, Ronnie or Cheryl or whoever?
Yes, I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
And I know that this is an analogy that lots of people know about already. They talk about when you're on the plane, if the air pressure goes, you have to put the mask on yourself first. But so very few people, I think, really understand what that is all about, because if the air pressure drops and you put the mask on your children, for example, then they will watch you die. So if we use that analogy, if you don't look after you, you no longer exist. So all the reasons that you give yourself, all the excuses that you give yourself for still living, whether or not that's the ego we've talked about before, whether or not that's significance, contribution, love, connection, whatever, it no longer exists. So the longer you can help yourself stay alive, then the better it is, regardless of the reason why you're doing things. So here's a really great thing for you to do. First of all, you can make a list of all the things that you do, and then write a big D next to them and highlight who you can delegate that to. So what tasks can only you do? And what tasks can other people do? Now, you might not have somebody else at the minute to do those, but the great news is that you could look and see how much time you spend on those tasks. And then it might be that you do get somebody to work for you for 2 hours a week. And those 2 hours are then yours to do whatever you want to make you feel better. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And then the second one that I've got for you is something called body testing. And I don't know if this has come up on your show before. But I believe that if you make a fors and against list, it's fundamentally flawed because it comes from the same mind, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, if you want to work, then you're going to make sure that, you stay working. But if you do a body test, and what you would do is you would stand up and you would just say to the body, show me yes. And if you're in a quiet moment and you're really relaxed, you will notice that your body will move in a certain way. It might move forwards, it might move backwards, you might get a little flip in your stomach or something like that. And then you say, show me no. And then you will see that there is a difference in your body when you get a yes and a no. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. But when you do this, and you can just do this on a daily basis, show me yes, show me no, notice the difference. You can then say to yourself, is this what I should be doing right now? And your body will tell you if it's right or wrong.
When we do the body, go on. I was going to say, when we do the body test for those who are listening, I think it takes a lot of practice. So people shouldn't just go on top of the mirror and just think, oh, I've got it sourced. Because unconsciously the mind, because you're expecting a particular movement, the mind could just tell you that's the signal, that's the movement. Am I correct?
No. Because the body will act. Once you know how to do this, the body cannot be overridden by the mind.
Correct.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can say, "Oh, I want to do this," and just override the body. Of course, you can. But when you know how to do this, and it does take a little bit of practice. It's cool to do this with somebody else. There's a nice little thing that you can do. So you can put your arm out, and you can ask somebody to meet your pressure. So your arm's out, they're pressing down on your arm, you're pressing up, just to meet the pressure, and then you can test this with somebody in your house today, and you can say, my name is Ronnie. If that's your real name, your arm will remain.
My arms are out.
Your arm's out. Now you do need somebody else there. So somebody would be pressing down on the arm as you're pressing up to meet their pressure as they press down, and then you would say, my name is, and whatever your real name is, you will find a strength in your arm. Then you can meet the pressure again, and then you say, this time round, my name is Mickey Mouse. And clearly, unless you have a very unusual set of parents with a good sense of humour, your name isn't Mickey Mouse. And you'll find that there is no energy in the body, because the body doesn't respect a lie. You can do it as well with food. So you could say, you could put some saccharin in your hand or some sugar and try to meet the pressure, and your hand will be weak. The body is weak if it doesn't feel strong about doing something. So it's a nice little analogy. And also, you just get a gut instinct, right? Is this the right thing for me to do right now? Well, I don't feel energized. I feel like I want to go and have a lie down. It's probably not right for you right now. And I do respect the fact, I heard you say that you went and had a little cat nap today, and that was brilliant. That put a big smile on my face.
I had to.
Because you're listening to the body. You're listening to the body. We get so obsessed with what the mind thinks we should do that it's really just great to just listen to yourself. If you're tired, stay in bed. If you're tired on a regular basis, then that's your body saying make some time. Because the truth is, remember, if we go back to what we said at the beginning, it's okay saying I can't, I need to do this. Well, if you drop that health glass ball, you might not be here tomorrow to do it. And guess what? Somebody else will do it.
I love
or maybe it's that important anyway,
Yeah,
who knows?
I love that analogy. And it's something that when I was working as a manager for a company a few years ago, and there's one thing that the regional director always said. So, Ronnie, you're working too hard. There were people here before you, and there'll be people here after you.
Yeah.
He always said that, and I always thought, why would my regional director be saying this? And it discouraged me. But it clicked because I realized that, listen, you don't have to come do everything in one day and get so stressed out and you work yourself sick. It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing is that, there's only one of you and you have to look after yourself. We go back to the mask. And if you don't have the oxygen to, or the energy or the passion to do it, the question is, I've spoken about Marissa. She said to me, if people are putting poisonous gas into a room, how long do you stay in the room? Well, just because you're putting your own poisonous gas in the room, you still wouldn't stay in the room. We convince ourselves we're invincible, we're the only person who can do this. That's just the ego taking over. We have to look after this body for us to be able to survive in this lifetime.
Fantastic. We've got 1 minute left. I just want to round up with a comment. One of I think my first guest talked about people working without taking holidays, taking money for their holidays instead. What's your take on that?
Well, I've always been the person who at the beginning of the year, when I worked for somebody else, I would plan my holidays in. Now, I'm being really open and authentic here. I don't actually take many holidays myself. And the reason for that is that I'm flying around the world, when I can. So it feels a little bit like a busman's holiday because I'm so used to being at airports anyway. That said, if I do, I'll put a cruise in, for 2 weeks, every 2 years, definitely.
Actually, just take a break,
Yeah, just to take a break. But I live in a beautiful space, Ronnie, so I just love being where I am. I can go outside, I can go for walks, I can see the wildlife, I meditate, and that for me is as good as any 2-week Caribbean cruise, quite frankly.
Thank you so much. It's amazing. We've got Sabrina next, and it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. See you soon. Take care.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great. We have to plan in time, and I'm so happy that I can go back and watch this again, and then make a note of some of the key points that the guests have talked about. And I said this at the beginning, that this show is about learning. It's about educating ourselves so that we can continue to improve our life. Some very, very important points are coming up at the moment that I can go back and reflect on and take them on board.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Sabrina. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm favored, and Happy New Year to you too.
Oh, likewise. Thank you.
Fantastic. Tell our audience about you before we crack on, please.
So my name is Sabrina Ben-Salmi. I'm an author, publisher, mother of 5. And as a family, we want to inspire families to work together so they can build their family empire.
Fantastic. So the question is, with all that you do, how do you balance work and playtime?
Good question. Diary. That's the short answer. There's no magic wand. I think it's just being organized, finding whatever it is for you, because everyone has their own ways of planning, diaries, planners. I think it's just really having somewhere to house it, a personal assistance even. So for us, first and foremost, it's about congruency. We're involved in things that are seamlessly connected. So there's not too much of a push and pull having to get connected to each respect of what we're involved in.
Explain that, please. What do you mean?
Explain. So I've set up a secondary school in Croydon, so that's all about education, children's education. I'm a big believer in teaching children key life skills as young as possible. I work with families, so if you can see the congruency, it's all about education, empowerment, inspiration. Okay. So when it's all seamlessly connected, the intertwining is more effortless as opposed to being an arduous task.
Okay. How do you find time for Sabrina to do fun things?
Oh God, my life is like it's so funny. When, like flying out to Bali, all expenses paid, and going over, staying at someone's. I think it's all about you being honest with yourself, and I think it will be different. So I'm trying to not do it from a place of like I just landed here today. So finding time for yourself is creating nothingness. Like I actually have a spot in the diary where it's nothing. It's for Sabrina. Sabrina goes and reads. But also it's homing in on those moments where people are around you, but you can check out. Does that make sense? I think it's so important because I guess as a mother, as maybe if you're a carer listening to this, as a wife, no matter what label you have, it's not always easy to check out physically. And I think it's always important that you adapt something that meets your current lifestyle. You see, I get really concerned with people because sometimes people just live busy lifestyles and they can't, they're the only breadwinner, they can't just stop doing what they're doing. So it's like, how can I make it work in my lifestyle? Because that's the key. It's like grabbing those moments, maybe just listen to meditation, going to the loo on your own. If you're a parent, you understand exactly what I mean, going alone, because if you've got little ones, they go with you. So yeah, as they've got older, I found that much more easier because I could just pop out and leave them together. But when your children are little, it's about carving out that time. So you're the eye of the storm. So no matter what's going on, you just carve at that time. You breathe. Just taking time to breathe is a huge difference. Yeah,
because there seems to be a huge impact. There is a huge impact on relationships if couples can't find time for themselves to just relax and take a break from all the stress and the rat race of work and busyness.
I think, you've hit the nail on the head. And I think couples needing to find time for themselves is all about support network, because it depends on the age of the kids, obviously. So, like, do you even have someone that's going to watch the kids? Because that's not a reality for everyone. So it's grabbing those moments again, depending on what your lifestyle's like. It's like, can you put the kids to bed a specific time and you just have your downtime once the kids are down? Is it a case that you're around the clock? Because I know people that have kids, but they also care for the elderly parents who live with them. So it's about, first and foremost, communication. I think our love language and our communication language is the difference that can make the difference. It's about finding out what does it look like for both of you and how can it be fulfilling and nourishing for both of you, because that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what people perceive. It's like when you are able to meet each other's needs in that way, in that respect, that's a game changer.
It tends to get harder though, when, if you've got kids and you have to work, and you have to wake up early. I think I said this before in this show. You wake up early, you rush to the station, you get to work, you get back home, you rush to cook dinner, you go to bed. It's like a rat race circle going over and over again. That you just get burned out at the end. I mean, it happened to me 2 weeks ago. I was mad for 3 weeks. It's like even after the break, the coronavirus break was even more busier than when we were in a break. But
for you serve so many people. Does that make sense? It's not a case it was just you and your family. I know the amazing work that you do in the community and for families that are in need. So I guess it's about knowing our limits. It's, again, going back to having moments to breathe, but also having moments to talk to people because... truth be have it, sometimes we've always been given the message, but are we listening? So before we get to that, that precipice of just breaking point, there will always be some intrinsic signs from our body saying, take time out. But why do we silence it? Why do we not listen? And more importantly, why are we not communicating? See, the breaking point happens when the communication is not there. Yeah. And even in the relationship, it's a case that is the other partner willing to listen? And do you maybe need some support from your external support system, be that your family, friends? And it's just about us being honest.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Listen to your body. Listen to your body, because I learned that the hard way, and ever since, if I feel tired, I just stop and just take a break. Just for 10 minutes, just sit down and put my head up and shut my eyes and just turn everything off.
Fantastic. See, but look at the priceless lesson. See, this is a lesson you're never going to forget now. See, we all learn differently. It might be a gentle stroke, a tap on the face, and then it's a brick wall. And for the purpose of the listeners, it's about what is it that you're waiting for in order for you to listen, because it really can get to that turning point where serious health concerns start showing up, when you start to lose people, when people start to walk away. Like, we don't have to wait for it to get there, because there's always a silent whisper. There was always those little signs along the way, and it's about how much are we listening to that. But not only when we hear it, what are we willing to do or not do?
So finally, how do you stay disciplined to your calendar?
Oh God! My calendar's my best friend. No, again, one of the things I always try to do is not talk about now. It's like, where was I before? To be honest, it's about healthy practices. So staying disciplined to my calendar keeps me sane. So it's about managing the calendar so there's gaps. Does that make sense? So you wouldn't just book, I've got a call at 1, I've got a call it's going to last an hour, and I've got a call at 2, 3. It's like leaving gaps. Give yourself 15 to 25 minutes or an hour in between. Get used to allocating time so it's an effortless flow. Leave space for the so-called doodads, because they will show up. That's one guarantee we have in life. So it's about being adaptable, and communication is key. So for me, I've got very good at that. Like, everyone knows everything happens in my diary. To some respects, I don't even discuss unless my diary is relevant, if I've forgotten it. So it's about you implementing things in your life so it just goes out into your energy field. And my diary is my best friend, so that's not an issue to actually orchestrate. I put my thoughts in there. Everything has to be in there. And sometimes when someone says, "Oh, what about this?" I say, "I don't know. I have to check my diary." My diary allows me to create space in my mind.
Fantastic. So what's the plan for 2020 for Sabrina?
Plan? Oh, God. A plan? Oh, gosh, I love that. So the kids and I, some of you might have been seeing, we've been on doing podcasts. We're doing podcasting. We've been booked for a host of events. The plan for us is to systemize and step up our game. And, listeners, I really want you to get to grips with what I'm saying. Stepping up the game is not about being and having and acquiring more. It's about us as a family. We've been sitting down and having some serious conversations, saying, look what's happened, what the current climate is, and how can we serve more? How can we be more? Because what we're communicating is not about being this leader from the front. It's about being the leader from the back, the front, and the middle. And it's like, how can you just become a purer personification of who you really are? Just being present, being open, being mindful. And for us as a family, we're just thinking we'll build our team, systemize, and we would desire to serve more families globally, because we believe that in our message, we can really start inspiring and triggering and activating people to shift in their lives.
You see how that just flowed out of you? It just flowed because it has become you. You're going to achieve this. I wish you all the best, my love.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
I love it when I ask people, what do you want to do? And they don't even have to think about it. It just comes out of them, just like, it's like out of your belly flows a stream of living water. It just flows out of, effortlessly. You just explain it. And that's what happens when you explain to, like, for example, you want someone to invest in your business or your vision. And they ask you, okay, tell me about your business. And you got, my business, all that long-winded until you've lost me already. You lost me at hello. You know what I mean? So you just have to so the lesson from that is you need to know your vision by heart, your dream. If they wake you up at midnight, you could just say it in your sleep. oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do make a difference with this person's life, and it should relate to giving, not just all about taking.
Hello.
Hi, Ayoshala, you're welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, Ronnie. How are you?
I am amazing, and thank you for having me on your show today. I really, really loved it. Thank you so much.
No, it was an absolute pleasure. You raised some really key points. Everyone loved your input. So it was a great day, great morning. Thank you.
Amazing. Please tell our audience about you before we can crack on.
Yeah, so my name's Shola. Shola, as people call me. I'm a mentor, a teacher. I like to see myself as a motivational speaker, peak performance motivator, I would say. I'm also a husband to one wife. Before you ask, I got it in. Before you ask, a father and a grandfather.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
That's me.
Okay, so how do you balance your work and playtime?
You know, Ronnie, I'll tell you what, because I've listened to your other very, very interesting. Everything, very on point. I would say, look, when you're enjoying what you do, when you enjoy your work or your vocation, for me personally, it's like it's kind of hard splitting the two, because I actually do enjoy, what I do. But then it's also important, Ronnie, to be intentional about taking that time out, because if you don't, it can become kind of overwhelming, and you find yourself on one track. So for me, I would say yes. Since I've been doing what I do over the last few years, I love what I do. It kind of, I think Sabrina and Cheryl mentioned congruency. Yeah, so there's just a kind of natural flow into what we're doing. So it's not like a task. It's not work. It's not something I'm having to sort of stress about. Oh, I've got to do that. I've got to do this. It just becomes a natural habit, if you like. So it is. I wouldn't say it's hard in a bad way, but it's about really being intentional there to say, right, got to have this time out now. I need to switch off and then devote that, to family, and to getting that rest. I loved what you said before, Ronnie, also about getting that nap, because over this weekend, I pushed myself a bit last week, and I found myself all kind of feeling a bit fun. I thought, I just got to sleep. And I did. I took a couple of hours cat nap, and I felt so refreshed afterwards. But the thing is, I think sometimes when we don't take that gap, is it a case of because of what's kind of expected of us, and we push on and we push on and we push on until that break point comes, as Sabina says. So it's very important I would say, to be intentional about having the time out.
However, though, I mean, I love what I do. That's why I overwork myself. Because what I'm trying to, another thing I'm trying to raise, I know all the guests have talked about it, and you've also raised it, is even if we love the work that we do, even if we love the activities that we do, and we're happy, we're enjoying it, it's still work.
It is.
What I mean? It's hard to define, but it's still work. I mean, I travel every 2 weeks to different countries before the break.
Sure.
But I'm still working. I'm still leaving home at Thursday, coming back home on Sundays.
No, I hear you. But I think what do we define as work then? Because work obviously is something. It's an occupation that we do to to make money, or to get ourselves through life, to pay the bills and whatnot. But if we take work in a point of view, more of a kind of a vocational aspect, where what you're doing it becomes so fulfilling. Does that make sense? So when we're working and we're deriving, we're giving pleasure, to an aspect where we're also deriving. So
your line is breaking a bit. Yeah, but go on.
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Is that better? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. So I think it's a case of what we're actually deriving from things called work. Work is I see it as a calling, more of a calling, as opposed to a job, or just it's just a grindstone. Yeah. Your work is something that you're called to do, that's taken away from you wherever you are. So you're giving of yourself in that said vocation.
It's a hard one. I understand where you're coming from, and I feel that it is hard to draw that line, But I had to draw the line because I knew that even if I was doing what I loved and I was enjoying it and it was like fun, but it wasn't play. That's how for me, if I find a time to go to a party when there was no break and when we were free to walk around, I really just make sure that if I'm there for 4 hours, I'm just dancing and jumping up and down and really enjoying and sweating and really going crazy. And everyone's looking at me thinking, Ronnie, can you just... My wife's just so used to it now. She just looks at me and thinks, I know him already, man. Because I know that's my 4 hours of fun. So I just have fun until my legs can't take me anymore.
I think we've got to, you know, dividing up the time of work, of the playtime, you know, and our restful times. Yeah. So if we don't, like for example, my playtime, I class that more of, you know, having a bit of leisure, you know, doing a bit of training, and having time with the family. That's kind of a mix between the rest and play. I know that my brain is not engaged in, you know, anything kind of stressful. That makes sense. So it's not really that time. So it's being refueled again for, you know, for the world. I would keep mentioning this. Your
line is really bad.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let's just round up.
Okay.
Tell us about Real Talk. Tell us about your vision and your project for this year.
Yeah, so initially, Real Talk Mentors. Yeah, so I think I was saying before, we originally set up as a youth organisation to empower and encourage youth as a platform for them to discuss and interact, you know, and really give real talk about the issues facing them. What we've done, we've kind of not digressed. We've added another dimension whereby we are now incorporating more men to stand up as role models. Yeah, one of the things I want to be looking at doing this year, Ronnie, is basically I want to write a book. I want to be known as being very instrumental in the healing of broken men. Yeah, and you know, let Real Talk be seen as an asset to a generation as opposed to a deficit. That makes sense. Yeah, so really an asset to a generation coming up.
Fantastic. I love when people talk about their vision and their vision involves giving back. You know, I love that.
Sure.
So well done. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing your book.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. Thank you very much.
No worries at all.
You take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, what an amazing show. Amazing people. Always a pleasure to talk to you all. Always a pleasure to just have fun and really I want to say thank you. Thank you to Trust. Thank you to Cheryl. Thank you to Demola. Thank you to Tanya. Thank you to Ayo. And thank you to Sabrina. You all were amazing, and you support the show, and you use your life examples as an impact to change people's lives. There is nothing greater in this world, in life, than to love and to give. Love is given, so there's nothing greater than giving. Giving is everything. Whatever it is in your passion, you need to find time to give yourself time. If you can't give yourself time, I have learned the hard way. And I want to use my example in my life to help those who may be going through thinking, I'm juggling too many things. I'm managing too many organizations. I can't find time. Where am I going to find time? You can find time if you plan and you schedule correctly. If you make a conscious decision. I love what Cheryl said. She said, either a rubber or a glass. Our life is like a glass bowl. When you drop it, it smashes. When you drop the rubber, it bounces and comes back up. So if you smash your life, there's nothing left for you to do. If you smash your life, you can't achieve what you want to achieve. If you get sick or get a stroke or hurt yourself, your health is hurt or mentally, then all that you're pursuing just becomes it just becomes vanity, a waste. Please schedule your time. According to Sabrina, fall in love with your calendar. Make time. According to Timothy at the beginning, take personal responsibility for your time. It is your responsibility. It is your challenge. It is your challenge. Make those time. Find time for just yourself. Because it's going to affect your temper. It's going to affect your relationship. A lot of relationships break up because they can't find time for each other. You don't have time for me anymore. I can't find time. and it just dies. The silence, then you start to develop silence. It affects how you work, your mentality, your concentration at work, your output. It affects that. And please, if you're working for an organization and you don't take holidays, you're doing yourself harm. Because all that money you're going to make, you may end up using it to treat yourself. My name is Ronnie Jacobs. I hope you learned today. Sometimes our show is educational. Not sometimes it's not fun and jazzy and laugh. And sometimes it's just for you to reason. Have a sober reflection on your life. Have a sober reflection as my actions, what impact are my actions making on me? What impact are my lack of creating time for my family? What impact are they having on my family, on my relationship, on my job? I wish above all things that you would prosper. I wish above all things that you would achieve your dream. Be motivated, be educated. Find out what is the why. I love what Cheryl does. You know, she helps you in your life to find out what is the why, what is the reason why you can't, you saying to yourself that you can't do something. If you need help, seek help. Contact this audience, this guest, excuse me. Drop them a message. Say, listen, I need help in this area of my life. And it's a reasonable professionals that will talk to you and guide you through that process. My name is Ronnie Jacobs, and as I always say, never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve your dreams. Never let anyone ever tell you that you're not good enough to achieve what you want to achieve. You start baby steps, and baby steps, and we'll get there together. I love you and have a great day. Thank you.